Hello everybody from YouTube. Welcome to a different type of video on my channel that I haven't done in a while. This is just gonna be a video that talks about certain aspects of the game. I was just watching some replays and I came across something pretty interesting, especially in this new patch, this 7.31b patch. Since all the neutrals, they have a lot of spells now, right? They do different things. And I thought, I was watching the replay, I was looking at what the Collapse was doing on Magnus. This was the Galaxy Gamers Tournament group stage, so it's Spirit versus Nigma, and they have picked Magnus, right? So this hero, he got pretty nerfed after TI-10, right? The shard does not stun anymore, and it fell a little bit out of the meta. People weren't picking it anymore, but it was also very picked, and people used to buy Helm of the Dominator on it because I'll explain the video. So I thought there was something very interesting that happened in this game, and I thought that I could share it with you guys. And of course, if you guys enjoy this type of content, make sure to drop a comment on what else you would like me to talk about, or any other thing that comes to mind, any suggestion, or anything that you would like to see on this channel. I usually do a lot of clips from my stream, but I would like to also do these sort of videos where I just talk about a certain topic or something that's like happening in the game, or something that I find interesting myself as an enthusiast of the game, right? So yeah, I mean, getting to the point is the Dominator on Magnus. I'll just do a brief explanation of why people do this. So at TI-10, people were doing this Dominator on the offlane heroes for two reasons. For Helm of Iron Will, which is very cheap at TI, this item costs 50 less gold than it does right now. So the item was stronger, right? And you would just rush this Helm item. So you would get 6 armor and 5 HP regen. You wouldn't be able to get kicked out of lane. The item did get a little bit nerfed. The gold cost is not something that you can just ignore, right? It's 50 extra gold. It's another creep. It's just a little bit more annoying to get the item. And the second reason is that this item helps you take the tower. So Magnus is a hero that cannot take the tower, right? He depends a lot on someone rotating to his lane or doing something else. Because himself, he's not like a high pressure hero, right? His spells are kind of a little bit clunky to actually kick the guy out of the lane, right? He has to move his hero forward and then he puts himself out of position, and it's really easy for him to get punished. So I'm just going to skip the laning phase, which is not the point here. Magnus, of course, not the strongest laner, right? He even gets first blooded here. The hero is very mediocre in lane, I would say. And this is another reason why you would like to buy Helm of the Dominator. But when you get this item, you will be able to maybe kick the carry out by getting a creep. Example, what a lot of players do is they get a mana burn creep, and they just mana burn the carrier, right, out of the lane. So you're playing against Morphling. And Morphling's a hero that can't be kicked out, right? He just buys mask. And he sits there hitting the creeps. You can just get a mana burn creep and just keep mana burning him, and he's gonna feel sad, right? There's a lot of ways you can work around it. Or if it's a hero that doesn't have a lot of HP regen, you can just get a Satyr creep, right? And you just get Hadouken him all the time, and he's gonna feel bad. He's gonna feel sad. So he has like 2 deaths, right? He gets the Helm. You see, as he doesn't buy any regen, this is very common in at least competitive. That he just lets his support buy all the regen for him, so he can get to this item faster. Yeah, so closing in on when he gets the item, this is just basic laning stuff. As you can see, the lane is hard. CK is a really strong laner, especially with IO, right? Shaman can get really punished, so can Magnus. This lane is pretty bad, right? They both have 2 deaths each. They get this kill on the sky. Pretty good. Let's skip ahead to when he gets it. So he has Dominator, so he's pretty strong. He gets a Satyr creep. Why does he get the Satyr creep? Because he's low. He wants to get a little bit more HP regen, right? He farms a stack because the lane is a little bit hard. So Wyvern rotates top. Shaman is also top. They're kind of like tri-laning here. Zeke doesn't feel that happy. I just want to show this to where he takes the tower with this item. And then later I want to show something else that's pretty interesting. So he still doesn't manage to take the tower with CK just sitting here, right? Doesn't really have like amazing creep to do it. He also like kind of lost the lane, so he has to just play like this until CK decides to leave the lane and do something more important, right? Here they use Relo. He's still our laning top. He gets this creep, and I don't know if people are aware, but they have changed this creep, right? So it summons the skeletons, and the skeletons have this spell, Rally. Skeletons gain bonus attack damage, and the aura stacks. So it stacks, so you can see that he has plus 21 damage right here, because he has a bunch of skeletons. And these skeletons, they just mow down the towers. I don't know if you guys have ever played a game with any of these heroes. So if you look at his damage, he has so much damage right now. He has 3, 6, 9, 12. He has plus 12. He had plus 15, right? Some of the skeletons are dying, but since it stacks, right, he just keeps using the spell, and it keeps giving him more skeletons, and it brings out 3, right, before it would bring out 2. So this creep is very strong now for pushing. You can see a lot of Chens and Enches get this creep, and they just stack like I don't know, if you can use the spell like 3 times, that's what, 9 skeletons. That's stacking 2 for each one. That's already like 20 damage almost, like 18, right? I don't know if I'm doing my math right. Maybe my editor can edit this. I don't know. But yeah, this creep is a good pushing creep now. You can just push towers, or you can just leave this creep in a lane. Let's say there's a fight going out bottom. You just leave the creep top, and it will just take the tower by himself. It will take the tower very fast. Right, so this is what he does right here. He goes back to base, just sends the creep here. Of course, it's not the best example of him buying Dominator and just taking the tower, but he forced the tower down because he has Dominator. The only other item that he would be able to do this was probably Meteor Hammer. But I don't think you really want Meteor Hammer on Magnus. It doesn't really give him that much. And then after he takes the tower, he kind of leaves the lane. So I'll just jump forward to where I want to show.
2,000 years later.
Alright, so here, he used a bunch of creeps during the game, right? It's really hard for you to just get a creep and just use that creep the whole game, because the creep dies and stuff happens, right? And then the spawn is random. So he used a bunch of creeps during the game, but this creep is pretty interesting too. This Harpy Creep that he gets right now, right? So if you look at it, let's see what the creep says. This says. So before, this did not have any spells, right? It was only the big one that had Zap. So now he has Piercing. So he does this is just a piercing, a type of damage, but the important thing is takeoff. The Harpy Scout gains flying movement at the cost of movement speed, consumes mana while active. Alright, so basically she flies up in the air, right? Like a Visage Bird, like a familiar. It's the same thing, like the Wyvern Q. And it gives her a movement speed penalty, so she becomes very slow, and it costs mana per second, right? 2.5%. But she has 5 mana cost. She has 5 regen, so she pretty much doesn't really run out that fast of mana, if you think about it. Like, look at her mana regen. It starts going low, but it takes a while, and there's a 10-second cooldown, because it has a 20 mana cost activation, right? So let's see how he plays this, right? So let's just look at his perspective and see how he uses this creep. This creep is very, very powerful. Something that's interesting is that when you use it, you gain flying vision. So it's basically a ward. So look at what he does. He presses the Q. If you look at the minimap, let's just look at the minimap. So if you just look at the minimap, what's happening? Look at the vision this creep is giving him. He sees everybody in the base, and he just puts the creep in the trees, right? So you can't see the creep. It's like a Beastmaster Hawk that you can control, right? He's like the old Beastmaster Hawk. It's pretty much what this creep is now. So late game, this creep is just insanely strong. You see, they just see everybody, right? So Spirit, they have traps. And they have this creep now. If you look at the minimap, there's like a huge circle around the creep. They just see everything. The creep is just insanely broken. It's just like a mobile ward that just sees everything. If you just look at it, of course. Oh, but the movement speed is nerfed, right? And it doesn't last forever, the mana. The mana, she has insane mana regen. Like, she can use this almost forever, right? So just look at the perspective. There's a fight breaking out. He's not really using the creep right now because he sees everybody. But that was an instance that was pretty... So now he's like using the creep to scout, if you look at it on the minimap. He's just using it. The creep is walking around. Of course, the creep is slow, right? But I think this creep is insanely broken. I think it's one of the strongest creeps, at least late game. Because usually, Helmet Dominator falls off as an item later on in the game. But, man, this creep, it just seems, at least to me, it looks insanely broken. It's just a mega giga ward that he just sees everything. Look at this. just sees Alina, and he sees Alina on the Harpy. He just goes for him, skewers him in, just kills him. Like, all this happens because he has the vision of the creep. It's very interesting creep. Like, he has vision of the whole fight. Just look at the fight. It's so easy for them to take a fight when they just see everything, right? Especially on heroes like Magnus that are repositioning heroes, that he also needs to see the enemy to use the spells on him, right? Like, imagine if you're a Pudge and you have this and you know where to hook. Then the game is different, right? Instead of just hooking blind. So, yeah, I thought this was pretty interesting. This item coming back into the meta, especially after it got nerfed in the last patch, but since a lot of neutral keys got changed, I think there's a lot more possibilities of what you can do with it. And yeah, I might do another video if I see something very interesting that I think is worth mentioning. So if you just look at the main map, they just see everybody in the base, right? The creep vision is just mega broken. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this type of content. If you did, make sure to drop a comment down below to what you would like to see next. Yeah, make sure you leave a like. It helps a lot. And I will probably try to make more videos like this in the future. So, yeah, thank you very much. Peace.